Hello, everyone. I'm Tiana Sirmans reporting for Light Screen Action. Today, I'm going to be speaking with Mr. Ted Ellis. Mr. Ellis is an artist who creates inspirational artwork out of things from the real world today, such as the Black Lives Matter movements, and brings them to life with creative art pieces. Welcome, Mr. Ellis. How are you?
I am wonderful, Tiana. I'm happy to be here, to talk about my art, my passion, my purpose. It's what I've been doing for 30 plus years.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I'm amazed sometimes too when I look at all the artwork. But it's a function of time and love.
I'm sure. So, where does your inspiration for your paintings come from?
It's our stories. It's our narratives. It's the stories I listened to, when I was small with my mom and dad and with my grandmother and grandparents and neighbors and relatives and stuff. And so I love history too. So a lot of it is about my community. It's about my history. It's about my heritage. It's about my identity. And I just think it's important. I know my art will outlast me, so I try to paint as much about our story as I can, past, present, and sometimes I could articulate the future with my art. Yes.
Yeah, and I've gotten to see some pieces. I know even before when you were here in Delaware at the library in Wilmington, they have some of your artwork up. Like the Colin Kaepernick one was the one that really stood out to me the most. So yeah, I can definitely
Yeah,
see where you get your inspiration from.
and that's so relevant to the times, to the contemporary times that is happening now. But if you go back to the 60s, you see some of the same issues that our community has been challenged with. The racial injustice, the social inequities. You look at the bad policies, the bad laws that govern us and disadvantage people of color. And so I thought I'd speak about it through my art.
So how do you decide exactly what to bring out in your artwork? I mean, just knowing some of the ones that I've seen that you've done, you always have like the main point of focus, but then you also have the little details in the background that also help tell the story. So how do you decide what to bring out?
So typically, your exhibitions are themed. So that's my art and social justice and advocacy exhibition. Um, I have a Juneteenth exhibition that's about 17 years of telling that story about Juneteenth in Galveston, Texas. And so, you would look at that timeline, if you would say from 1865 until right now, and you're telling that story. And so, I would look at specific events that has happened in the past, and those individuals that have made a major impact, like Colin Kaepernick,
Right.
George Floyd. My George Floyd piece I would have loved to have at the Wilmington Public Library, but it's at the Houston Museum of African American Culture, and they would not let me wrest it from them. They said, "No, this is one of our anchor pieces," because it speaks so vividly to what has happened right here, right now. And we all know that George Floyd is from Houston, Texas.
Right.
So no, just love telling those stories. When you look at John Lewis, Mr. Good Trouble, you see that he was the soul and the face, arguably, of the civil rights movement. From the very early stages to the latter stages until he transitioned from this world into a better place. He was always committed, and he was always on the front lines at every incident. If you look at the sanitation workers, if you look at the march from Selma to Montgomery, he was there. The bus boycotts, he was there. In Congress, he was there. In our communities, he was there. And so, yeah, I tried to tell as much as I could in a level of completeness artistically that it was speaks to his contributions in fighting for justice. Mr. Good Trouble, Congressman John Lewis, rest in peace.
Yes, and I think that's one of the best parts probably about, when I see your artwork that while it's still art, it also tells a story.
Yeah, art, yeah, and everybody does art a little bit differently. Some people do it emotionally. I think we all do it emotionally. Um, but I try to have some purpose behind my paint, some intentionality. And so, particularly when George Floyd was murdered and killed, in the streets and in front of everybody, I said I need to have more intention about what I could do with my art. And so, so I said, just like a lot of my predecessors, I mean, they were very active with the Black arts movement during the 60s and the 70s. You know, Jacob Lawrence, Amari Baraki, all of them were instrumental in telling stories, was involved in activism and advocacy for human rights and equal rights.
Right.
So I'm trying to do my part as much as I can and be that example for other creatives in this space.
Yes, well, you're definitely doing that.
Thank you.
So, which of your many art pieces would you say you had one of the most connection with, and what was it about that piece that made it so special?
Oh, it got to be Sunday worship. When I think about all of my pieces, that's that little old white church, you know, down in the South. I grew up in a little white church. They eventually bricked the Beulah Baptist Church, but that little church, you know, was the sanctuary. Was and still is the sanctuary for our salvation. It gave us a place of comfort, a place where we felt that we could humble ourselves to our Lord and Savior, higher power, to give us the strength and resiliency to get through what we were dealing in the here and now, the right now. It's where we gathered, and we taught the word of the gospel in the church. We taught the academics in the church. We taught how we needed to treat each other. So by far, my Sunday worship is probably my most important painting that I would grab hold to me personally. But yeah, definitely.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one yet, but I would love to see it because, I mean,
Yeah,
from the story behind it, it sounds like a very interesting but also personal art piece.
Yeah, it's a powerful image. I remember years back when I had the contract with Avon Products Inc. It was one of the prints that they put in their catalog, and we sold close to on both campaigns close to 100,000 prints of Sunday worship. So it's a popular print. It's one of the pieces that folks a little bit older than yourself can associate that painting to Ted Ellis. Yeah, yeah. The more current themes now, you know, with the Our Time Has Come, that shows us the social and civil protests, and the Colin Kaepernick piece. You know, those are pieces that people seem to connect me to because they're more popular and more recent pieces.
So when you hear the word activism, what does it mean to you?
You know, activism, it says that you can't sit still and be complacent. It means that something is wrong and something has to be corrected, and that you have a voice and you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to yourself, you have a responsibility to your family, you have a responsibility to your community and to society in general, that we have a standard of living that's equitable for everybody. And activism, when we think about activism, it's so that we chart the right course, that we make sure that everything is equitable across the board, that there's no ill will, no misintentions to do anybody harm. So when we talk about activate, you know, it's almost like a call for, to action. It's a call to action to do the right thing, to fight for justice, to fight against the inequalities. And that's what activism is to me.
I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
So what do you hope that people walk away with when they look at your artwork?
That's a very good question. You know, art definitely engages you where you're at. You know, your life experiences, it impulses, it connects. I definitely want the art to grab you. I want there to be dialogue and conversation. I want it to stimulate your mind, your thought processes. You know, I want you to say, what is this artist trying to communicate? What is the message in this art? Is there a message in this art? And for me, it is. It always is. It's one of for us. You know, we're challenged with issues of unfairness. We're challenged against unjust laws and policies and treatment by others. And so I want to say that we're resilient, we're strong, we're committed, we're intentional, and we will get the right outcome as we put the effort in through activism and advocacy. So I want you to see the beauty. I want you to see the authenticity in my art. Who I am as a person, and I want it to be a way that it improves your human capital, your self-worth, as an individual. And so that's the gift. That's the gift that I think creatives have. We have it in song and dance, we have it in music, we have it in poetry, and we have it in this visual place called art. Is that it's supposed to enliven us, engage us in a way that it lifts us up and lifts our spirit. And so that's what I want. I want to be able to heal through my art. As creatives, we have that power to do that, to exact emotions that move us and stimulate us to feel better about ourselves. And that's what I want to do with my art.
Yes, well, I know from me, myself, just looking at your art, I definitely get all of that.
Thank you, Tiana. I just, I never know. My art is like my magic carpet. Never know where it's going to take me at. But 30 years, it has not failed me. 30 years, it has provided a means of livelihood for my family. As a professional in the business of art, I've been able to maintain and have a standard of quality of life that's suitable for my family. And, I can't ask for much more. And the love and the support and when people receive my art and receive me, hey, I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I am living my dream. I'm living my purpose. I'm living my passion. And that's what it's about.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for letting me speak with you today. This was a very fun and inspirational conversation.
I'm floored. Typically, Tiana, it's always somebody older that's interviewing me. And so when we talk about, the intergenerational opportunity here, next generation, getting it and pushing it forward, I'm ecstatic. It's like, yes. My art, hopefully I'm saying my art is relevant and it's important and it's connecting. And so, the language of art is so impressive. It speaks volumes. And I always says, I speak multiple languages. I speak art. I speak culture. Thank you. Drop the mic. Boom.
Yes, well,
Wow.
Thank you again. That's all for this interview with Light Screen Action. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.